What's up my net soldiers, I am the Net Alliance, and today I have a different type of video for you guys. So a couple weeks ago I was at my parents' house and I found an old book of mine. This book was the novelization of Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Now I read this book for a book report a long time ago back when I was in school, so I decided to take a peek at it again. Even though I don't like reading, I managed to actually finish this in a few days, and it's a pretty fun read, so I recommend it for you Star Wars fans. Now the reason for this video is although the book is very similar to the film it's based off of, there are a few key differences that I kind of want to share with you guys. So I decided to highlight some of the bigger differences and display them in this video. However, bear in mind that most of these changes aren't that different to the actual plot, but one of these scenes in particular could have warranted an R rating, so I can understand why it may have been altered for the film version. But you'll know what I mean when I get there. But without further ado, let's begin. The first lightsaber fight of Revenge of the Sith takes place between Anakin and Obi-Wan facing Dooku. In the film, this fight is relatively quick. Dooku enters, they all fight, Obi-Wan gets knocked out, Anakin kills Dooku, next scene. However, in the novel, before the fight even begins, Dooku and Palpatine go over the plan together. Palpatine essentially tells Dooku to kill Obi-Wan and then surrender to Anakin. However, as we know, Palpatine had other plans for Dooku. The fights are fairly different as well. In the movie, Dooku seems to be on par with Obi-Wan and Anakin, keeping them at bay until Dooku manages to knock Obi-Wan out. Now in the book, Dooku still does take down Obi-Wan, but the encounter depicts both Jedi overpowering Dooku in the fight, as he is constantly on the back pedal, hurling chairs at them in an attempt to gain distance. At one point, the old Count actually begins to panic and spends most of his energy just trying to kill Obi-Wan. Both the book and the movie are the same in regards to Count Dooku's death. However, the book gives us more insight on what's going on through Dooku's head when he realizes he's been betrayed by Palpatine. Dooku's last thought before being beheaded by Skywalker was, "Treachery is the way of the Sith." Now this one's kind of a small one, but it's still kind of interesting, so I threw it in here anyways. In the film, we see Jedi Master Yoda travel to the planet of Kashyyyk, where he assists the Wookiees in battle. However, in the book, this battle never took place. Yoda still went to Kashyyyk, but he only went there to lure the Sith out of hiding. For our third difference, in the movie, when Mace Windu and his fellow Jedi went to arrest Palpatine, Palpatine managed to slay all three Jedi rather quickly before engaging Windu in a one-on-one duel. However, in the novel, this transpired a little different. We are informed that Palpatine could feel the four Jedi coming for him, so he prepared for the confrontation, grabbing his lightsaber. Now for me, this is where the film really changed from the book. Had this version been used in the film, I honestly think it may have received an R rating, which would make sense for why George Lucas would wish to rewrite it. So in the film, we see Palpatine lunge forward, stabbing Agent Coulter through the abdomen. He then turns quick, slashing Saesee across the chest, effectively killing both Jedi. But in the book, Palpatine managed to decapitate Saesee first, then stabbed Coulter through the face, which is much more violent than the movie. From here, Mace Windu, Kit Fisto, and Palpatine battled into the next room. But eventually Kit is decapitated as well, rather than being cut across the chest like he did in the film. And the rest of the fight is pretty much the same in both the book and the film. And although I think it is more interesting and more real to kind of have these Jedi die this way, you know, being decapitated and stabbed through the face, I do 100% understand why it wasn't put into the film. For although Star Wars, specifically Revenge of the Sith, is pretty dark, if you can tone down some of the dark points but still have the same conclusion, I guess it would make sense, especially if you're trying to hit that PG-13 rating. So I'm actually pretty interested to hear what you guys think about this scene. Do you prefer the movie version or do you like the book version better? Let me know in the comments below. On to our fourth difference. The final fight between Yoda and Sidious is relatively the same, just with a few small changes. In the film, before their battle begins, Palpatine tries to leave his room, but Yoda doesn't let him. However, the book depicts Palpatine as the instigator of the fight. It's actually kind of funny because he seemed to be like super excited to finally face Yoda himself. I remember it kind of made me chuckle a little bit. The rest of the fight follows the film exactly until the end. In the film, we see both combatants use their force abilities against each other, forming a force bubble of sorts. And as we've seen, the bubble explodes, sending both combatants backwards. This causes Yoda to fall and effectively lose the fight. But the book is a tad different, however it does have the same outcome. In the novel, Yoda becomes very tired and tries to jump at Palpatine in one final attempt to slay the Sith Lord. Unfortunately, Palpatine shocks Yoda in mid-air. This causes Yoda to fly backwards, slamming against the podium, then falling to the floor of the Senate. After the fight, it's then explained the reason Sidious didn't stay longer to look for Yoda was because he sensed Anakin was in trouble. Now for the fifth and final difference, it's really not that big of a difference, but it's still interesting, so I threw it in here anyways. The final duel between Anakin and Obi-Wan is much shorter in the novel than it is in the film. This is due to the story focusing more on each combatant's internal struggle compared to the actual fight itself. Now the fight still ends the same, with Anakin losing his appropriate amount of limbs and then being burnt, so no real changes there. But later when Vader gets his armor put on, in the film we see Vader say, "No." when he learns of Padme's death. However, in the book, we get more exposition on what he is actually feeling, mostly about the sadness and anger he feels for the death of Padme and their unborn child. The rest of the novel and the movie have the exact same ending, just with a few small changes here and there. But as far as the movie and book go, I honestly choose the movie, because although the book does explain a few plot points the movies missed, and the book isn't particularly boring, the movie keeps the plot going and it's more fun to watch. But of course, that's just my opinion. Now, I don't read many books, but if you would like to see another video like this about another story or franchise, let me know in the comments below. Please remember to like and subscribe for more videos, and until next time guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.